So there is a brand new Chinese historical suspense comedy film that just came out this past weekend in the theaters, and it's already been released in China, being the highest grossing movie of the year so far. So you know I had to go on my way to check it out, and I'm really glad I did because this was a pretty good movie. Let's get to the review. Welcome back, film fans. It is Brad from Let's Be Real Brad, and today in the channel, I want to talk to you guys about the newest Chinese film called Full River Red. Full River Red is directed by Zhang Yimou. I apologize if I mispronounce your name, great sir. The movie stars Shen Tang and Jackson Yi. So going into this film, I didn't know a single thing about it besides the fact that this is the highest grossing movie of 2023 so far at the time of recording this video, and it was getting a little small release in the US this past weekend, and I finally got the chance to check this movie out and see what the hype is all about, because I've been trying to watch more foreign cinema, and I'm really glad I did, because this movie was really different and interesting, and it was actually really good. What I enjoyed so much about this film is the screenplay, as I found all the dialogue between the characters to be the strongest focal point, as this movie does have quite a bit of humor that is like my type of humor, where it falls solely on the writing and the delivery of the actors, and it just worked for me. I also really enjoyed the characters and the way that they were written, because there are so many twists and turns in this movie that it was a little hard to keep track of, but I really found that these characters were the stronghold of the film. One of the cool aspects about this film is it's actually based on real life, which I did not know at all. So I was doing a lot of research about the real story, and it's actually really cool that they were able to make it into a movie and not feel like your typical historical biographical film. Zhang Yimou did a phenomenal job directing this film with so many great shots, especially the opening of the film where there's a bunch of soldiers just running through alleyways, and it looks so cool and stylish, and I knew that this had to be made by a good director. So when I looked up his filmography, I definitely got to go on my way and start watching a lot of his movies, because I found a lot of shots in this movie to be really good, especially with the more violent and disturbing scenes, that you really feel the tension and pressure that is coming from each of the characters, and I feel like there's a lot of stakes in this movie. One of the cool things about this film is the cinematography that has a very bluish color that is so consistent throughout the whole film. I knew this was a very prominent choice, and it actually made the movie look really cool, and it probably look great on a 4K disc when it comes out in the next couple months, because this was a really cool looking film. I also found the music to be pretty good. Like, it doesn't overly carry any of the scenes, and it was actually very effective when it is played in a certain scene. The performances in this movie are actually pretty good, especially from our lead Shen Tang and Jackson Yi. They do a really good job together, just carrying in this movie and playing these characters as well as they do. I also really enjoyed the practical effects in this movie, with a few being kind of cheesy and not looking as good, especially with some of the blood, but anything that involved like knives, it just looks so cool in this movie. Easily one of the best aspects about this movie has got to be the pace. With this movie being over 2.5 hours, I was very nervous of how slow this movie was going to be, and to be honest with you, I didn't feel it at all. I was pleasantly enjoying myself, because the dialogue and the screenplay just keep this movie moving forward. There's always something new going on, and there's so many twists and turns that for some people it might be a little bit of a turnoff, which kind of leads into my first negative I have. Because this movie has so many twists and turns, it was very hard to keep track of who's playing who and what is going on and who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. And for a lot of it, it was really interesting. But then for the last third of the movie, it becomes so complicated and so complex that I just feel like it kind of loses itself and it becomes too much. I also really didn't enjoy the woman characters in this movie, as I felt like they weren't utilized as best as they could. There are a couple woman characters that are essential for the plot of this movie, but I just feel like we didn't really know a lot about them, and they're more used as a plot device just to keep the mystery and the movie going. And it would have been nice just to have more scenes with them to know more about them. And one of the last criticisms I have with this film, as someone who is from the US and doesn't know a lot about my history of China, I did feel like I was very much lacking the experience that a lot of people from China probably have with this movie, considering that it is so beloved and making so much money. So I do feel there's a part of me that really wanted to connect with this movie, and I did with the filmmaking, but I feel like from a overall standpoint, I feel like the movie just didn't quite do it for me. It didn't have that truly universal feel that I do feel a lot of other movies have. There are plenty of American movies that have the same effect on the rest of the world, and they think they're just a bunch of stupid American movies, and usually those movies I really don't like as much either. Overall, guys, Full River Red was a very enjoyable film that I do have to recommend you guys checking out at the theater if you can in its limited release, because I found this movie to be really entertaining and engaging, and there's just so much going on with this story and this complex murder mystery type of vibe that I was actually really into it. And the performances are really cool. There's a lot of stakes and violence and a lot of hilarious moments that just had the right type of humor that I personally enjoy. And if you're someone who's kind of on the fence about it or not sure if you want to watch a movie with a subtitles on the screen, I think you'll get past it. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review. As I want to know below in the comment section, have you heard of Full River Red, and what are your thoughts on this movie? I can't wait to hear about those. Before you guys check out this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like as you always should, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.